requirement. So customer will come and ask solution for 3 different use cases. Okay, I think we started talking about this use cases yesterday, right? So these ones. Okay, so customer will ask, I've got some remote users who want to connect to my Azure site using some private VPN connection. See, VPN by default, it is a way of connecting your systems securely using a tunnel. Okay, VPN is always used for secure traffic. Okay, so now we have created a virtual network gateway on Azure side, and customer is asking that I have got some remote office where they have got only 5 users or 10 users, and they want those users to connect to Azure in a secure way. So for that, you can say like a point to site connection is a better way. And then see, you need to understand what they are asking. For example, if they are asking they want to transfer some data, or they want to have some upload download happening, then you might have to think little differently. We need to ask like whether they have got some VPN device or some appliance which can do a site-to-site configuration. If the requirement is little higher, where they want to do some data transfer one time, or if they want to do data transfer continuously, then you need to go for express route solution. So there are 3 use cases which we are going to see now. So if you want to connect 2 different site, Azure site and AWS site, or Azure site and some main office or hub office, where you have hundreds of users sitting and connecting. For example, you have a service desk set of team, or you have a complete support team, maybe 500,000 people are supporting your customer environment. Then you need to have something like site-to-site VPN. You cannot have point-to-site VPN in such cases, because it will be a too much of bottleneck, and even the end users have to configure it manually. Okay, so we are going to see all these 3 options today, and we'll be seeing practically these 2 options, how to implement the point-to-site VPN and the site-to-site VPN. So now I think we have created, okay, so we created and deleted it to avoid any unnecessary cost yesterday. So we can just do one thing. We have got a couple of virtual machines. So I've got one virtual, both the virtual machines are on network class RG. So we'll do this on network class RG only. Okay. So let me go to network class RG, and then here I want to connect. See, if I want to establish a VPN gateway solution, what is the prerequisite? Can one of you help me understand? I want to create a VNet gateway or virtual network gateway. What is the prerequisite for that? Yesterday we created 2
Main IP
virtual networks.
address,
Sorry?
main IP address, subnet mask,
Yeah.
the gateway,
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
and
So when you mean, yeah. Mm-hmm.
both
So when you,
this one destination IPs.
mm. Okay, see, you are talking about a general real-time scenario, but here, if I want to create a virtual network gateway, see, for example, we created 2 network gateways yesterday, right? If I want to create this virtual network gateway, there is one prerequisite that we did actually. What was that? So definitely we need to have a VNet. Okay, without VNet, we cannot create a gateway.
Have a separate subnet.
Very good. Okay, so we have to create a separate subnet for that particular virtual network gateway. So it will create a default gateway subnet for that particular virtual network gateway device. Definitely, we need to have a gateway subnet. So for the gateway devices, we need to create gateway subnet, but it is Microsoft created. We don't have to create it. So it will always have the same name. Okay, your virtual network gateway will have a separate subnet called gateway subnet. So it is already created, so we don't have to create it then. So let us go and create the virtual network gateway now, and we can establish the site-to-site VPN, point-to-site VPN, and all those solutions now. Okay, let me go and create it. So let us see where exactly these VMs are. This network is in Brazil South. I have to create it in Brazil South then. Okay, so Brazil South virtual network gateway 1. Okay, today also I'm going to first create the VPN concept, then only I'll go for express route. So VPN, within VPN we have point to site and site to site. Those are the things I need to select today. So I'll go for VPN gateway 2. We talked about these SKU and all those things yesterday, so we don't have to spend time again on that. Okay, so I'll use the existing subnet. Perfect. Okay, I'll give some IP address here. Yeah, if I have something existing, I can use that. Okay, we have this existing one which we created yesterday. Perfect. And go and create. So we don't have to spend too much of time today. So we already created the same yesterday also. So if you missed the session yesterday, you can go and watch that. Okay, so we have created a virtual network gateway. It is going to take some time. Meanwhile, we'll try and cover up some theory portion for all these things. Okay, all the three scenarios. So first scenario, I've got some users sitting in home office or branch office or remote office. It's because like they will not have any dedicated switch, or they will not have dedicated router. So these are all remote users or roaming users. Okay, so I have a scenario where my customers is asking, I've got some roaming users, or I've got some remote users. Remote users means they are connecting from some remote office site, some front office or something which is remotely. For example, if you have some branches in the remote, like it can be you can think about some courier office or some small office location in remote villages or remote offices. Okay, and I have got some branch office which is very remote again, so we call it as robo site, right? Remote office, branch office concept. And for these connections, or even from home office, home users, they can also connect using the point to site solution. So if you want to allow individual users to connect to Azure, then we generally go and implement point to site network or point to site VPN connection. So the end user laptop, desktop, and all those things are called the point. Here the point refers to the laptop or the desktop or the system from where you are trying to connect. Okay, and on the other side, site is nothing but your Azure data center. Okay, we are trying to connect to Azure data center. Azure data center is the site here. So we are connecting point to site. Okay, and for this scenario, we don't need any specialized gateway on the source side. I can just directly install a VPN client tool, and I can connect this VPN client to the virtual network gateway device from this local desktop. So I don't need any special devices on this side. I can just directly use my laptop desktop, and I can connect using my what do you call this one, the VPN client. I'll show you how to do that. Even you can connect it from your home system also. So if someone is interested to connect from your system to Azure site using your laptop or desktop, I'll also give you the client and you can install it and you can try and connect it. Okay, I can also show a demo from my side, but even you can do it from your side also. Okay, so for that, on the Azure side, you definitely need to create a virtual network gateway. You can share the virtual network gateway for multiple solution. Okay, you need not create multiple virtual network gateway. You can use the same virtual network gateway for point to site, and other options also. Okay, let's do that. So now it is still getting created. So what I will do is I'll try and create one virtual machine in. Okay, I got already virtual machines in Amazon. These are all Amazon Cloud VMs. From the name itself, you can see, right? EC2 Amazon. So these are all EC2 instances. And this is completely in different subnet. Okay, I've created it in US West 2A. This is completely in different data center, not even in Brazil. Okay, so I can show you the IP range and all those stuff. Okay, I created this for some other purpose, but again, yeah, this is fine. Okay, I've got a EC2 Amazon instance running a Windows server. Okay, so this IP address is completely different. Yeah, it has got 10.0.0.28 and it's completely different network. Perfect. And what is the range here I have got for this virtual network? Oh my God. Okay, it is very similar range. Okay, then I might have to change. I have to create another system then. Yeah, that's fine. But again, the purpose is to show you that even if you can connect it from different network. So maybe like who is interested in participating in this lab? Even you can try to connect from your home also to Azure network using a private IP tunnel. Okay, you don't need any specific thing. Even you can just, I'll give you the VPN client. If you install it, you will be able to connect to my Azure subscription, and you can access it using the private IP address. Many users can connect. Who is volunteering? Who is interested? You just need to install that VPN client. That's it. Anyone would like to connect?
Yeah, I'll do it.
You will do it, Srijesh. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll let you know once after I have the VPN client. Okay, I'll show you how to do those things.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Someone else is also interested. I see someone coming out of mute. Okay, so now all these connections are going to happen. How it is going to have an IPsec VPN tunnel created, and see there are some different protocols that we can use. If you are using MacBook or if you are using some different operating system, you can go and use different protocol. Okay, similarly, I think we also have to create a site-to-site VPN. Okay, so before that, I'll just give you some high-level hint about what is VPN. Okay, because we have not discussed about that. We discussed about virtual network gateway. VNG is different, VPN is different. So VPN means VPN is virtual private network, right? VPN stands for virtual private network. VPN is virtual private. It's not physical private network, it's virtual private network. So just in a very normal, easily understandable language, see, if you have a particular user, okay, you have a user and you have some office location, or you have some Azure location, or you have some customer data center. It can be Azure or your own data center. And if you want to allow this user to connect to this data center using a private network, what we generally do, we will ask that user to go and install a kind of VPN client. Okay, this user has to install VPN client. Once after they install the VPN client, they will be able to access all the data center resources using the private IP address. So why you are asked to connect to VPN client? So that is the purpose. Okay, in general, you will be connecting to the data center using the internet channel. Okay, so you'll be using the internet connection to connect to the data center. But see, if you are using the internet channel, there are chances whatever you are uploading, downloading, or whatever data you are accessing, this is private, the public internet, right? So someone can come and sniff the data, or someone can try to steal the data, right? That is feasible. But if you want to avoid this, what you can do is you can have a kind of a tunnel created between the end user and the data center, which is what we call it as virtual private network within the public cloud. So we are connecting through the public cloud, but there is a secure tunnel that will get established, and the data getting transmitted within this tunnel will be encrypted and decrypted. So here the encryption will happen, and on the other side it will be decrypted before you store the data. Similarly, if you access something again, so there will be encrypted data, and once after it downloads, there will be decryption happening. So the data will be encrypted traffic, and still you are going through public internet, but you have a virtually private network within your public internet. That is what we call it as VPN, virtual private network within public internet. Okay, within the public internet, we are creating a secure tunnel. Okay, that tunnel cannot be tampered. Even if it is tampered, it uses a encrypted channel to encrypt your data. Even someone takes the data, they will not be able to decrypt it. Okay, so the data gets encrypted. Encrypt the information, data or information, when it is transferred or when it is in transit. Transit means when the data is getting copied over on the network. Okay, so there are typically deployed when you are connecting to an untrusted network. So customers will ask you to do that. If you are connecting using the untrusted network, is nothing but the internet network. If a customer or if the end user is accessing your data center resources, then they will ask you to install the VPN client so that you don't use the public traffic or public route to connect to that. So by doing this, what you are establishing, so you are avoiding any eavesdropping. What is eavesdropping? Eavesdropping means someone is intruding your network and trying to take the data. So this can be avoided, or any other attacks similar to that, any malicious attack or any attacks on the network level, it can be avoided. So if you are encrypting the data while accessing it or while copying it, it is going to create a tunnel, and that tunnel will avoid any eavesdropping or any attack. So all the data getting transferred is encrypted in a private tunnel as it crosses across the internet. So how do we establish it? We go and create a VPN gateway solution in order to achieve that. In Azure platform, we call it as virtual network gateway. If you are doing it in Azure, so in Azure, we have something called virtual network, right? And in order to access this virtual network, we are creating something called, okay, I'll use the short term. So we have a VNet, and in order to connect this VNet, we have something called virtual network gateway. So this device is going to do that encryption and decryption for you. Okay, so this is VNG. Gateway for virtual network is called virtual network gateway. Simple understanding, right? You can easily understand virtual network gateway, VNG. So this device is going to do some device should be there, right? Some device should have to take care of the encryption decryption. So your VPN gateway will take care of encryption and decryption. On the custom client side, you'll have a VPN client with that public key, private key in order to access that information. Okay, so here VPN gateway or virtual network gateway is a type of VPN gateway, and you can deploy one VPN gateway in each virtual network, and you can use that virtual network for multiple VPN tunnel. Yesterday we were seeing the licensing option, right? 100 connection, 1000 connections, 30 tunnels, and all those things. So you can use one VPN gateway for multiple number of users getting connected. Thousands of users can connect, and even you can create 30, 40 tunnels based on the SKU, based on the stock keeping unit you are choosing. Okay, we were seeing that yesterday, right? If you remember, we went ahead and saw those options here. So if I choose this particular SKU, I can have 30 tunnels, VNet to VNet tunnel or site to site tunnel. 30 tunnels I can create. And similarly, I can have maximum 128 users connecting in the generation one. Similarly, if I go for a higher generation, I can allow maximum 500 point to site connection. Okay, similarly, if I go scroll down, I can see it supports up to 10,000 users, and it provides you 10 Gbps speed. So yeah, there is a lot of capacity that is allowed in the VPN gateway solution. So based on the customer requirement, based on the number of users they want to allow, based on the number of tunnel they need to create, you can go and choose the SKU. You can go and change the SKU at a later time also. See, even after you create it, you have the option to go and change it. So if I go to my virtual network, it should be still getting created. It is still updating, so we'll wait for it. But if I go to the configuration, I have the option to upgrade it. Anytime I can upgrade it. Okay, I can also change it to active mode if I want to have redundancy, and you have the option to change it anytime. You can upgrade. Okay, you can upgrade it anytime. So it is still updating. Okay, and yesterday also it took some 20-30 minutes. So once after it is available, we will start creating the point to site configuration. Second, good. Okay, I've approved it. So I think I've logged in with multiple accounts, and that's the reason it is asked for that credential. Now here in AWS, similar to our virtual network, we call it as VPC, Virtual Private Cloud in AWS. The network is called VPC. Okay, and let's see how many VPCs we have got. So we have got, okay, so these are all default VPCs. Okay, I'll create one for my purpose. Okay, let me go to VPC dashboard. I'll create a VPC. So I'll create VPC and I'll say this is for my site to site VPN project. Okay, I can just give some different range. I'll just say 170 to 16, or let me do one thing. I will give 192.168.220. Okay, some number. Okay, whatever number. See, anyone has some fancy number? Anyone want to give it a try? You want to give some number? Any number? Okay, let's avoid the conflict between these two network. I have a Azure network with some IP range, and I don't want to use the same range here. Okay, I can give something. Okay, 110. Okay, I think I have not used this anywhere. I'll just give /24, and I can also create few subnet. Okay, so where exactly the subnet? Okay, VPC and more, and here I'll just say the subnet. Okay, customize. Okay, this is all fine. I'll create it in multiple availability zone. Don't worry about all these things. Okay, so I'm just creating it. Okay, 110.0, 110.16. Okay, this is all fine. Okay, so it has created 4 different subnet into 16 IP each. I think that should be fine for me. Okay, I'll go and create it. Okay, it is very similar thing. Okay, we need to create a VNet and subnet in Azure. In AWS, we have to create a VPC and subnet. Same thing. Only thing, the name is different. Okay, now we are about to see the site-to-site VPN concept. In site-to-site, we are going to connect 2 different physical site. Okay, that is what we saw in the diagram yesterday, right? So in site-to-site VPN, we are going to connect 2 different sites. So we need to have a solution on the other side also. So here I'm going to create some kind of gateway on AWS side, and I'm going to interconnect them quickly. Okay, let's see how to do that. Actually, there are 2 ways of doing it. Okay, even Microsoft, Amazon has got an option called site-to-site VPN that is very, very straightforward. Okay, you can create the site-to-site VPN connection using this option. You can go and create a virtual private gateway, and then you can give that same gateway on the AWS side, I mean Azure side, and similarly from Azure side, you can give that IP address here and you can configure it. This is one way of doing it, but let me show you another option. Okay, so just a second. Okay, I'll create a routing and remote access server, and then I'll show you how to do the tunneling between AWS and Azure. Just give me 1 second. I'll create one machine now. The problem is in AWS, if I create some machine, it is going to cost me. Okay, so that's fine. But again, we need to quickly create and delete it. Okay, I'll just go and show you that. I'll go and create the EC2 instance. Okay, I'll just create it. I'll create a new instance. I'll call it as some name. Okay, I have an application server in AWS, or I have an database server in AWS. I want to connect between each other securely. Okay, sometimes even you might have this solution. For example, Azure, you'll have the application server here. In Oracle data center, you'll have the database. So the customer will ask you to go and configure a site-to-site VPN between Oracle data center and Azure data center. Similarly, I'm trying to have an analogy similar to that. So here I'm going to create some server. Okay, I'll just call this as site-to-site VPN server, some name. Okay, and I can just create some Windows operating system. Okay, you can go and choose 2016 or 2019 or whatever, whichever is free tier eligible. Okay, 2012 is free tier eligible, but it is very old. Okay, but let's go for that. Okay, it will be less costly for me. Okay, and here T2 micro will be slightly slow, but let's try that. Okay, if needed, we can increase the capacity. Okay, now I will go and give it a key pair name. Okay, so here I will just say North Virginia, November 2022, Stan AWS. Okay, download it. Okay, I can just, okay, allow RDP, that is fine. Is there any other security group? Windows, I don't want to create too many security group, but it is already having too many security group here. Okay, I'll create something like Windows. There is something already. Okay, I'll go and create this VM. So just create one virtual machine in the other side of the network. Okay, in your on-premises data center or Oracle or AWS, wherever you have an account, you can create it there. You can just follow the same steps what I'm going to show you. Okay, so now the VM is getting created. Let the VM get created. Okay, it's pending. Okay, so meanwhile we can go and take a quick break and come back. Okay, so while this is getting ready. Okay, so let me stop the recording. Okay, conversion
This
is now
conference
ready.
will now be recorded.
We'll try to generate the password. Okay, get the password, upload the private key, and AWS, November, decrypt the password. Oh, password is very simple, huh? Don't try to connect, huh? They generally give a very complex password, but anyways, that's fine. So I got this IP. Okay, perfect. So let me try to connect. Okay, I'll copy the password. Okay, I just created a virtual machine in AWS, and then I'm trying to connect to this. So I'll give you a view on what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, so we have two data center location which I want to interconnect, and any connection that is going to happen from those two network from two different data center now will happen through the private tunnel. See, definitely these two data centers are not directly connected, right? Definitely it goes through the internet connection. So everyone agrees to that, right? So this two networks are connected to through the internet. I have a AWS data center and I have the Azure data center. They are from two different companies, Microsoft data center, and I've got Amazon data center. And here, this data center is used for AWS service, and this data center is used for Azure hosting. So now I've got a virtual network which is created within my Azure, and I've got a network created in AWS VPC. Okay, and now I've got a VM that is there in one of my subnet. Similarly, I've got some subnet here, and I've got some VMs created. Okay, I think I might have to check. Okay, that's fine. What are the IP address I've got? 83. Okay, some random number. So did I select that proper network that I created? I might have missed two, right? Because I gave some 192 range. So I thought I might have made that mistake. Okay, let me go and launch one more instance. Sorry about that. We'll just create AWS to Azure server VPN server 1. So here, whatever you guys are doing, just do it carefully because I made a mistake of selecting the default network. So I can choose any operating system which can act as a free tier eligible one. So here I can select the same key. What is the key that I created? Okay, stan AWS November. This is where I have to be careful, edit the network. Instead of selecting the default, I have to select the VPC I created. And then I can select one of the network, whichever I want. I will assign a public IP for that. That's okay. And I can select an existing group to avoid creating multiple groups. Okay, so it has got only default. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let me create something. I will create, this is for site to site security group, and I will allow the traffic here. So I don't want any traffic to be limited. Okay, so let me launch the instance. Okay, it will create in 2 minutes, don't worry. So I'll delete this other unwanted instance, or I'll use it for something else. So let me go to this machine. So let me try to explain the scenario. Okay, I've created a VM here. Okay, and from this VM, if I want to connect to Azure, I should have a public internet connection. So that is there, but still I don't want the connectivity to allow any external users from intruding and taking the data. So we call it as eavesdropping, right? So I want to create a secure tunnel between these two cloud within the internet channel, and I want to have a private tunneling. Okay, and in order to achieve that, I need to have two different solutions established. One is that I need to create the virtual network gateway created, which we have already done. We have created the VNG already. But on the other side, AWS side, I have to create the virtual private gateway for my VPC. Okay, and I can either do it like that, or I can go and create any machine that can act as a virtual private gateway or act as a kind of router for me. Okay, I need some device which can do the encryption and decryption here. Okay, that is what I need. So I can directly go and do it simply like this. I'll show that use case later. Okay, I'll also show that demo. Okay, we can just directly go to VPC and create this virtual private gateway. So gateway for your virtual private cloud is virtual private gateway. So here we call it as VPC, right? VPC. Gateway for your VPC is virtual private gateway. You can either create this, and it is very easy to create, but I'm going to create a machine that will act as a router for me. Okay, go here, copy this. Yeah, hopefully this time I get a complex password. Hmm. Okay, this is somewhat tough to type. Okay, good. Okay, let me paste it. Okay, let me log in. I'm going to make this machine act as a routing and remote access server. This will act as a router. Okay, in simple terms. Okay, it's a very easy step. Okay, nothing big. But there is one additional step that we need to do. If you want this machine to act as a router, you need to inform Azure that you are going to use that machine as a router. So how to do that? Go to that machine which you have created, select that machine, and then go to actions, go to networking. Here you need to say change source destination check. The reason I do that, see if all my machines in this virtual private cloud, all the machines in AWS, if it is going through the same machine to Azure or same machine to the gateway here in the internet, they will stop blocking the machine, because they might think that someone is trying to do some malpractice, or someone is trying to do some force natting or something like that. So if you want that check to be disabled by AWS, you can say this. Okay, you can stop to allow your instance to send in traffic. Okay, that's fine. You can just save. Okay, that one step most of you might miss also. Even sometimes the firewall configuration within your OS, there is a Windows firewall, right? So that might also sometimes block your traffic. So you can disable that. So now I'm going to go and install the Windows routing and remote access role. You can do it two ways. Okay, one, you can go to your add or remove programs in your server manager, and you can select installing that role for you. You can click on this add roles and features, or you can go to the manage option and add. Both are same. Or else, if you know the command, you can go to the PowerShell command prompt and you can install it. Okay, you can do either ways. So here I want to have this remote access feature enable. See, this is for VPN solution. Okay, so if you look at here, this is for connecting the VPN services. Okay, remote access, click next. And then here, there is one more option which I can install, remote. Just a second, remote server administration. I think that should be fine. I think I have selected the option already. Okay, nothing to worry here. Okay, we can just keep moving. Okay, here I want to do only the routing. See, okay, even if you want to enable a VPN, that is fine. Okay, automatically it is enabling the VPN also. If I select routing, it is enabling the VPN option also. Fine. Okay, click on next. Click on install. Okay, from the command, you can also do that. You can just go to your PowerShell prompt and you can just say install Windows feature remote server administration tool hyphen remote access management. You can just do this. Okay, if you want to do that from your command PowerShell prompt. Let's wait for this to complete. So it is already doing this. This is what it is doing. So remote access management tool RSAT, and it is installing that. Okay, I'm just trying to give the same thing here in PowerShell. Okay, let's not duplicate the effort. Let that complete. Okay, once after this is done, we should start seeing something called routing and remote access in this option here. Okay, it will take a minute or two. Okay, these are all something which you rarely get to work actually, because very senior people in your organization will take care of this. You need a lot of knowledge around network routing and all those things, but still like no harm in listening to this or no harm in seeing this, right? So you can get to understand it at least. You can also practice it because you have the access to the session. You can also try to run it in parallel and do it on your own. Okay, let this go on the back end. I'll try to do one more thing on AWS Azure side. So before doing this site-to-site VPN, I need to tell Azure that I've got one more gateway that will try to connect to my virtual network gateway. So in AWS concept, we call it as customer gateway, or in Azure concept, we call it as local network gateway. Okay, LNG. Okay, so both are similar terms, but different cloud provider use different terms. So I have to go and create a local network gateway that will say, this is my local network. I mean, on-premises network or some external network. I need to tell that to Azure here. So where exactly that option is here in Azure, I can show you that. Go to Azure platform, go to my home, go to local network gateways. So here I can create this local network gateway. So it says clearly, right? Create a local network gateway to represent the on-premises data center site. Or, I mean, it need not be just on-premises. It can be your AWS, it can be Oracle data center, but it is the other side of the network. We are not creating something for Azure. We are creating something to represent the other side of the network. So even this, we are doing this, I mean, whatever we are doing, it is the same step. You have to do it in your on-premises data center if you want to establish site-to-site VPN. Okay, if you want to establish site-to-site VPN, this is exactly the same step you have to do with your on-premises network also. Okay, so here I'll just go and create the local network gateway. So if you are doing it with your on-premises network, you need to talk to your network team, and the network team will provide you the router IP address. So that router IP address you need to provide here. But here I'm doing it for AWS side, so I know what is the IP address. I can just copy this IP address here, and then I'll provide it here. So I'll just say this is AWS data center local network gateway. Okay, and I need to provide it, create it on Brazil South. Okay, so here they are asking us what are the IP ranges that I need to allow through this range, whether I need to allow complete range or I need to allow specific range. I can say I need to allow this 192.168.100 range or 110 range. I'm sorry, 192.168.110.0/24. So if you want to add multiple range, you can allow multiple ranges. Okay, no issues in that. So I'll just go and review and create. And if someone in your on-premises network, if they have configured BGP, you can configure BGP, but let's not complicate our site-to-site VPN here. But site-to-site VPN, it also supports border gateway protocol also. If on the data center side, if your network engineer has created and configured BGP, then you can configure the BGP ASN number and you can try connecting the site-to-site VPN. There are two ways of doing it. Now, hopefully this installation is complete. Very good, it is completed. Now I can go and see that there is a remote access option added here. Okay, I can also check the command here. Is the command correct? Okay, it's taking time. It's already true, it's already enabled. That's fine. Okay, now I can click on this open getting started wizard, or I can go and access it here also. There is a new option added here. Okay, let's see. I've clicked on the open getting started wizard, but again, this machine has got only one CPU and 1 GB memory, so this is okay. So you are planning to deploy the VPN solution, right? VPN site-to-site connection. See, this is what is important. You need to connect the VPN site-to-site. I am going to click that deploy VPN only, and here go and right click, configure and enable routing and remote access. So here is where we need to follow closely the option that I'm going to select. Okay, just a second. Okay, so now click on next. Here you have to select the custom configuration. You can select the first option, but I want to show you one more option here. Select custom configuration. Here you have the option to go and filter it. I want to have VPN access. Click next. Okay, and then finish. Now it will start the service. Okay, let's start the service. Okay, perfect. Let it start. Okay, now on this machine, if you go to my command prompt, I've got only 192.168.100 range of IP address. And if I go and start pinging 10.0.0.4, which is my Azure server IP address. Okay, I'm just trying to access the Azure server IP address. Okay, let me try it. Okay, and then okay, so let me go to the network interface. Okay, I'll create a new demand dial interface. Okay, and that demand dial interface, now this is where again you have to properly select the options. Even I want to be careful in doing that. Okay, I can just give a name. This I can say Azure to AWS or AWS to Azure, whatever you want to give, you can give it. So here it asks me whether I want to connect it using the VPN or I want to connect it using a point to point. I will say connect using VPN. And this one, whatever what we selected, actually we selected IKE version 2 when we created the virtual network gateway. If you have selected something else, you have to select the right thing. So here I'm going with IKE version 2. Whatever you selected on Azure side, you have to select the same thing. Here it is asking me what is the virtual private gateway router IP address of Azure side. Okay, so I need to go and pick that. I need to go to my virtual private gateway here, and I have to find the IP address of my virtual network gateway. So here, let's see, loading up. Perfect. This is the IP address that the other side of the person is looking for. So I need to provide the IP address of my virtual private gateway Azure side. And then here it is asking me which range of IP address they need to allow. I can just say what is that range? Destination is 10.0.0.0. Is it complete 10.0 or something lesser? 10.0, okay, /16, perfect. Okay, so which means this is 255.255.0.0. You can give some metric, okay, whatever metric number you want to give. Okay, click on OK, click next, and it is asking for dial out credential. So these are all old age school. Now you skip that and finish it. Okay, so now it has created a new demand dial interface. So here, okay, so when we create, okay, we have not created any site-to-site VPN yet, right? So now this is where you have to be. I know this is very complicated, but you can follow along later also. So go to the virtual private network gateway, and here under the connection, go and create a new connection. And here you need to select site to site. Yesterday we saw the VNet to VNet. Today we are seeing site to site IPsec VPN. So you can give it a name like AWS to Azure or whatever name you want to give, you can give it. It is just for our understanding, but in organization, you just follow the proper naming standard. So here is where you need to select the virtual network gateway. So you need to select the virtual network gateway, and you need to select the local network gateway, which we created. Okay, that is what we have created, right? So AWS side of the IP, I've selected it here. So this PSK shared key is for additional authentication. I'll just give similar number like yesterday on for okay. I'm used to this IP number. I mean, you have to safely store this. This is a very important shared key. Without that shared key, we cannot do that. So this is what we have to select the same IKE version 2. If you are using the traditional legacy one, you have to select the old one. Okay, now I'll just go and say okay. Let's see. So this will create the site-to-site VPN connection. Once this side is done, I can go and complete the configuration here. And before connecting, go to the properties, go to the options, go to the security here, and add that pre-shared key 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Okay, whatever key you have given on Azure side, you have to give the pre-shared key, otherwise it will not work. Okay, let's wait. Okay, refresh. This is the toughest lab, I would say. Okay, but anyways, even you can do it in one step. Okay, I mean one shot if you are listening properly. In real time, this takes at least 2 weeks of planning and 1 weekend, complete weekend time to establish it. But we are doing it just like that. Okay, let's see. So it's updating. It will take 1 or 2 minutes because we are touching the physical network. It will take a minute or two. That's fine. So let's see. Oh, beautiful. See, it has started connecting. Okay, from AWS. Now I can connect to my Azure server using my private IP address. I can just say 10.0.0.4. Beautiful. Stan. Okay, what is that password? Maybe I'm giving the wrong password. Yeah, web server 1. I'm able to connect to my Azure web server 1. I can just say yes. Beautiful. I was able to connect to my Azure server from AWS. So I'll show you the actual thing here. If I say disconnect or disable, this should stop. And my RDP connection should also go away. Yeah. So this also should try to reconnect now, my RDP session. Perfect. Okay, now I'll try to enable it back. Perfect. Okay, so this has come back quickly. RDP is picking it up very quickly, and reply responses taking some time. So this is the toughest lab, I would say, but you can definitely do it if you follow along my instructions. Okay, so on this side also it will be connected in some time. Okay, in a few minutes it will show connected. Okay, so it is connected. They created the connection, so it will take 1 or 2 minutes, and it will show connected. So now let me also show you that, okay, you can also go and start capturing the log from the connection. There are many other things that you can do. Okay, let me go to overview. Let me come back to the connection. So similarly, you can also try doing that other lab is very easy. Okay, if you have to try the site-to-site VPN using the VPN network gateway, that is also very simple. Okay, any questions from anyone on this? So I'll try to delete the site-to-site VPN on the other side, and let's see if that is impacting here. Okay, I'll try to delete this so that you guys can be clear, right? I'm deleting the connection. So let's see what happened. Yeah. So let's see, request timeout. So this deletion is going on. Okay, so it is very clear now, right? So even this remote desktop should also start reconnecting this one. See, perfect. Okay, so we are done with site-to-site VPN. We have connected 2 different data center using the private IP address tunneling. Okay, and you don't have to use the public IP address at all. So all the machines on AWS side can connect to Azure. Similarly, from here you can also connect to the other side of the network. So I think we have got 5 more minutes.